name 65 amps, is that sort of an homage to that era of amp making?
Well, I was made in 65.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. And so it was a temporary name until we came up with a real name because, Peter and everyone was asking, what are you going for? I'm like, well, the mid-'60s is kind of the apex of good gear because once the Beatles came out, everybody wanted to play guitar. So Fender and Vox and everybody else went from being boutique companies like this into being mass production companies. So the quality naturally went down. 65 is when Leo Fender sold Fender to CBS. That's when Vox sold JMI to the Royston Group. Jim Marshall was just starting to get traction, and all he was doing was copying Fenders.
Right.
And that was sort of the, Gibson had gotten rid of the Les Paul in 60. It was like things just kind of took a strange turn in 65. And I was made in 65, and I personally like the sound of small amps cranked up to where they're about ready to blow up. And so it's like, I don't know, for now we'll just call it 65 Corp. And we'll come up with a name later. And then, the logo is based on Speed Racer. And so when we put 65 instead of Speed Racer's number on. It's mid-'60s stuff. I'm a 60s kid.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. It was all just pure fun. There's no real intentional marketing ploy or savvy here. It's what we like.
Right. That's cool.
And, we intentionally don't follow the market. I don't know what anyone else makes, and I don't care. I don't look in the trades and go, oh, so-and-so's making a 2-watt amp. I better do that. We just make what we like.
So what is it? Is that your only inspiration for coming up with new designs? Just kind of like, this is something I'd like to try?
It's literally Peter and I over a glass of wine or a beer going, what do you want to do now? Well, I've always wanted to have a so-and-so. Yeah, let's do that. Let's put a switch that does this. And it's just pure fantasy. It's all it is. I'd love to say there's some genius to it. It's not. It's like, and Peter and I know what we want to do for the next decade. And now that we got great people around us, we're fortunate being in LA. We got, I think, top-notch skill sets here.
Yeah.
We got some of the best amp guys on the planet are here in LA, and they come to me. They want to work because we run sort of a 60s kind of hippie shop. There's no time clocks here. You come in and work on your own schedule. Just give me 8 hours a day of good work, and we're happy, and everybody's good. And so, amp guys are special people. And so they realize, like, hey, this is a decent place to work. Like Dan doesn't ride my butt, and I let you do what you want to do. So we got, Mike's incredible. Our head tech, he's just a genius. And everybody else here is just fantastic. So I'm really, really lucky, really fortunate to be here in this location with these people around me. And so, the only credit I'll take is I like to assemble a smart team. I like to surround myself with people that are smarter than me. And we've done a good job of that. Idealized version of an American amp. You can take an American amp and build it with a British build quality, and you get a lot more vocabulary out of it. A lot of oomph. It's 16 watts, really clean. It does a little bit over 20 when it's dimed, but we're not lacking for any volume at all, are we? And that's just doing our sort of regimen with the build quality. You get a lot more out of it than you would normally. But I really want to. With an American type circuit, you really want to highlight, the vocabulary of certain guitars. So like a Strat, it's 5 different distinct sounds. You can really, number 2 position versus number 4. On the bridge, all the way back to the neck. And have them be clear and distinct. And then the only thing about American amps that people tend to complain about is that they don't distort the best. They distort really well, but people want to get a little more aggressive distortion out of it. So, we can push it over. can't make a single coil quit humming, but it's just take your American sort of amp and then blow it up, 5 degrees either way. So I got more cleans, I got more dirties. It all relates back to all the things we were talking about over there. All of those elements that we do inside the chassis result in that, because it's a pair of 6v6s. And I can name you 10 amps that are a pair of 6v6s that just won't do half of what this does. That's because all those little elements that we're just neurotic about. And I'll spin my propeller and admit I'm a neurotic freak about it. But, that's what you get. You get something that's just it's a working man's amp. You can go to a gig with this. And I showed you we haven't even talked about the master voltage, right? So
No, we haven't yet.
we can dial this down where the output, if you look at this over here, this is the master voltage. So I drop it down to 5. We're looking at about a 9-watt amp now. And it's actually still working correctly. But I still got clean sound, as I showed you, and I take it down to 2, we're looking at like a 3-watt amp now. And I still have clean sound. And if your wife won't tolerate that, you've married wrong. Like that's quiet. That's really quiet. That's those TV volumes. But I can go right back in. I haven't lost any authority with the guitar. I don't have to start plowing it. It works. Then I can dial the power right back up with my loud guitar. A lot of vocabulary in 16 watts there.
Impressive.
I play this amp with my band actually right now. I've been working with the prototype for about 3 months. Just trying to kill it, trying to find a hole in it, and it's really useful. The guys in my band will love it.